Have you ever wanted to call plays like an NFL offensive coordinator? I'm going to show you how. We're going to dive into their call sheet, how they break it down, how they come up with their plays, their personnel, and everything in between. And we're going to use Madden to do that. Let's dive in. The first category that we're going to dive into are the openers. These are top 20, 25 plays of the week that the offensive coordinator loves, feels like he can use to get into a rhythm, and they're going to be called on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 7 or less. Basically, he takes everything, all the information that he gets that week from the defense, how do they play in base, how do they play in nickel, who does he have available, what's their scheme, and everything to come up with these top plays to go attack the defense. Sometimes you even throw out a bunch of different personnels to get information for later in the game to know how they're going to adjust to it. Shanahan, using his openers from one of our games, we're going to go in and kind of see what it looks like and what some of these plays look like in Madden. So in this particular game plan that I'm taking from, it was week 8 of the 2022 season against the Los Angeles Rams. The formations and how we're going to end up is going to be very similar in Madden, but the personnel that he uses is going to be a little bit different. But basically, starting the game with a choice stick nod, this would be called Looky Ninja, and then probably going to expect some sort of cover 3, maybe some quarters depending on who we're playing against. In this look, this is a way to say, hey, what are they going to do when we go into empty? He calls this early because he wants to know how they're going to adjust for later in the game. This play in particular, it's going to go Debo Samuel to George Kittle to Juwan Jennings. And then if you really love one of your outside go balls, then you can take it, but probably not thinking that first play of the game. You're going to go left. He's out, got A, cross the middle, come back to it, and get down. And so this would lead us into the next play. This would say 1st and 10. On the openers, we would go to our very next play. So we have a toss 38 Zoro seal, and basically this comes with a dummy Mayday, which is a fake can, makes the defense believe, oh, maybe we're going one high, they're gonna can it to a pass. So he has a lot of dummies in his system, which I really do like about it. So we can get into this formation pretty similar to what we'd be doing. A Zoro would be an outside zone. Now we're gonna say they're gonna go some sort of 3B. This is a play that he sees, that he likes, and typically what we would do is we would swap this to the opposite side if we like better leverage, and we're gonna let it run. We're gonna see what happens, gonna cut it up. Cool. So this now would lead to 2nd and 7 or less, which would get us to our next opener play. So the next play that he had was a 37 counter with an Oscar and a dummy Mayday with a motion. I don't know if we can get all of that in Madden, but basically it's going to be another heavy run package, counter Y, gun bunch X nasty. Defense is going to adjust because we're getting the ball ran all over them, and they're going to go to a little over, probably bring a safety pressure. Look, he's going to come down, and we like this. We're going to run away from the safety pressure. They're going to have to cut it off on the backside, and this is a heavy box. This is how the defense starts to adjust based on what we're trying to do. And we'll get 3 yards. In a real game plan, we would say, okay, it's 2nd and 8 or more. So we're off of our openers. Those first 25 plays, it's done. 2nd and 8, we have 2 choices. We can go to our run game column and we can go to our pass game column. We have our run game broken down by personnel, 21 personnel, fast 21 personnel, 12 personnel, 22 personnel, 11, and then heavy if they start bringing in 6-1. And then same thing on the passing side, it's broken down by personnel, and each personnel has different types of play actions, different types of drop back, and everything in between in them, some even quick game. For this system, it's 21 personnel, a bunch of 21 personnel, and then there's 11 personnel, and then some 22 and 13. But every system's different, but that's how they break it down for their second down plays, typically pass downs, anything 2nd and 8 or more. They are not afraid to run the ball on 2nd and 8. So now we'll go into our category. Let's go into 21 personnel. We'll run a little play pass here, 2nd and 8, still decent with the chains. So here we would have a strong left clamp, Larry, F slide, 2nd and 8, probably gonna get some sort of too high-ish, but they're gonna be in base because we are in 21 personnel. And that's another thing about the call sheet. You call plays knowing that when the defense comes and subs in, if you're in 21 personnel, 12 personnel, 13, you're probably expecting base for most defenses. And you know that if they bring on base, there's a certain set of plays that they like to run, and vice versa. If you have 11 personnel or 10 personnel, you know they're probably going to bring in nickel, and that nickel defense is also called a little bit differently. So you can start to tip the hand of the defensive coordinator based on your call sheet and how you're calling plays. So now we're going to go and say they're going to get into a quarters look here. Quarters is a run stopping defense, and it's the too high defense that does have run responsibility by the safeties. They have to come and fill their gaps. And so we're going to be in the pistol, and we're going to run in this system Larry F slide. And then the other thing we want to do is motion Ayuk out just a little bit because we don't want this comeback to get in the way of this deep cross by Kittle. We're actually just going to clear him out. All right, let's run it. Let's see what happens. 2nd and 8. Got our fullback in the flat. take him right now. In real football, he'd be on the run, but that's fine. But this leads us into our next category, third downs. Third downs in this system are broken up in a few different ways. We have 3rd and 2 to 5, 3rd and 6 to 11, and 3rd and 12 plus. And then you basically have all of your short yardage underneath. We are going to say that we're in 3rd and 6 right here, and I'm going to go to my 3rd and 6 category. And right now in this game plan, we had 7 plays in the 3rd and 6 category, 3rd and 6 through 11. We're going to go from top to bottom, and we're going to have our Z Chevy Arch Y Spark. So we're going to try to get our best representation of that. We have a monk and a chip on this, which in Madden terms means we're going to get into a formation. That is an empty set. We will run this level mills. We're going to say defense is going to be a nickel, and they're going to try to bring some sort of exotic, but they're going to back out of it. We're going to go cover one hole. This is probably our best representation of what Shanahan would be calling in a situation, but in real football, George Kittle would be chipping first on that edge and then rushing, and McCaffrey would also be chipping on the opposite side, but it won't let me get to that formation right now, so we're going to run it like this. Basically expecting pressure. They might come, they might drop out. We're going to go Brandon Ayuk, see if we can get him slipping through, and then we're going to go A to Y to X on the backside. So we got it to B. Across the middle, you see Brock Purdy throw a lot of those, and that Chevy concept is big in that system. It was big when he was with Matt Ryan with the Atlanta Falcons. They like it a lot. So you can see an offensive coordinator has a lot on his plate, and it all starts with knowing what the situation is. He picks out his personnel, sends his guys in, and then he immediately gets feedback in his headset from another coach saying, okay, look, they put in nickel, they put in base. This is kind of what you can expect. And you don't get that what you can expect. That's typically on your call sheet as a reminder. And plus, you've watched so much film that week, you know that if they're in nickel on 3rd and 8, they're probably going to be bringing 33B, or if they're on nickel and 3rd and 3, they're probably going to be going a little bit more man pressure, maybe some man with a plugger. All of that information that you're taking in and out while also relaying the play is why being a coordinator is such a tough job, but you do have this master for call sheet to allow you to have a lot of help, and you can write as much as you want on it before the game. So this is kind of how they break down that part of it. Now let's go and respot the ball. Let's go get into the red zone. Red zone philosophy, it's broken down in a few different categories. So in this game plan specifically, the red zone was broken down from the 30 to the 13. So when you watch on TV, they say, oh, it's the red zone, 20-yard line and in. Yes, but teams' defenses start to play a little bit differently at certain break points is what they call them. So for this game with the Rams, we knew that the 13-yard line was their break point. So we had specific play calls that were everything from the 30 to the 13. We knew we liked some of them a little bit further out, maybe the 25, but their defense was pretty much the same in that category. And then as soon as you get down to the 12 to the 1, that lower red for this game, that was when you had to have a whole new set of plays in, a whole new way to attack the defense, because the defense is going to change. When we're watching film throughout the week, we're not just watching like which player is good, this and that. It's like at what points in the field does the defense do certain things? Do they have certain tendencies? And how do they make it come to life week over week? And then how does it change depending on what scheme the offense is bringing to the table? So like when we were game planning, if we were to have to watch the Ravens play against this defense, we might not spend as much time on that film as we would maybe the Bengals playing against that defense. All of these things go into account when you're developing a game plan for that week. So one of my favorite plays in the red zone, and you see it a lot around the league, especially with running backs out of the backfield that can catch, is this red zone scissors. And down here, teams like to run too high in passing situations. Sometimes you'll get quarters, sometimes you'll get cover 2. We're going to go quarters for this one. This play right here is like, it's a staple for this West Coast system. Too high shell. And again, this is something that we would know, hey, 1st and 2nd down in the red zone, balls on the 16-yard line. We love this play. We love this play from the 16 to the 13, 20 to the 13, whatever it may be. This specific play, you'd read Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. You'd take George Kittle if he flashes, but it's more of a check down. Progress across the field to Jennings and Ayuk. We're going to read, does this post from Deebo Samuel take the corner and the safety out? If he takes the safety out, great. Then now we just need to read the corner. If he takes both, we have a touchdown. If the corner gets involved, we want to see, does the corner relate to the flat route, or does he relate to the corner route by Christian McCaffrey? And then everything with that, we need to see, what does that inside linebacker do? So you can see the triangle between the safety, the inside linebacker on the left, and the corner, and we want to see who do they relate to. And it's just a puzzle in replacing people with where the routes end up. Drop back. He relates, got him. Money. Good offset throw. As soon as your running back gets a step on a linebacker, you have him. Now let's take it down to the low red. So ball on the 6-yard line, right hash. So in this game plan, he had some highlighted plays here, some that he would run for sure on 3rd down and have to have it, and then others that are more just open downs. We're going to go with power edge yak, 3 jet, X choice, peel, H choice. Oh, I like that. So double choices. Let's see if we can find something as similar as possible to that. Shock option. We'll doctor it up a little bit differently. And then gotta have it situation. Let's go with a 11B. In this situation, we're gonna put George on a skinny post, Ayuk on a zig because they love that with him. And we're gonna read this. What does Christian McCaffrey do on the left side? Does he get good leverage and win on this linebacker? If he does, great, take him. If not, we're gonna get our eyes across, seeing what the safety does and see if we can rip it to Kittle behind the next linebacker. And then if not, we're gonna scramble most likely down here, and we might have Ayuk on a scramble to the right. So it's kind of how we're thinking about this. If they bring more than 5 people, then we have to throw hot. Either going to be to Kittle or to Ayuk. Got him. So that's like basically how it works, dude. McCaffrey got outside leverage. He broke in. He has the option to go in and out, and that's a big staple in this offense. Some of the other parts of the game plan that aren't as prevalent. For some teams, we have the goal line package. We have short yardage package, which there's a little bit of overlap there. You have backed up, which is another situation. So if you have the ball like anywhere 5-yard line and back where you're really backed up, certain teams have different philosophies. 49ers typically would have like a 5-yard out route, a stop route where you're just playing one-on-one with the outside receiver in the corner, not trying to do anything too risky, but with how they play offense now, they're probably just going to try to run the ball, get some good leverage in their gap scheme, and make some hay there. And the other categories, like I said, we have 2-minute drill, which every 2-minute team is different. Some teams have 2x2 sets, and they stay in 2x2 the entire time. Some teams, if they're on the left hash, they'll be in trips right. If they're on the right hash, they'll be in double right, meaning 2 and 2. They try to do these things to save time and just try to get everybody on the same page so not everyone's running around crazy. And over the course of the game, if you have a few 2-minute plays, you're going to save some time. The other part is 4 minutes. So 4-minute drill is at the end of the game, typically when you want to try to run the clock out, play conservative, and you have certain play calls that take a little longer than others. So in this, you're going to have toss plays, you're going to have boots with the quarterback where he's going to play fake and roll out, and he's not going to try to throw an incompletion. He will take a sack and save the clock from running out in these situations versus just throwing it away. And they call these plays with tosses and everything because they're longer developing and typically 2 to 3 seconds longer per play than a traditional run downhill and get tackled. So that's 4 minute. And the other part about these all sheets that I absolutely love, that you have the referee info on the bottom. So when you need to call somebody or yell at somebody, you can look at your call sheet and call them by their name, and it makes it a little bit more personal. So these call sheets have it all, man, and everyone looks a little bit different, but that's basically how these games are broken down and how these coordinators do it. So they're not just coming up with stuff during the game. Every week they have a formula, and most of the time these call sheets have been passed down from generation to generation, and they have not changed much. I've been on 3 different teams, 3 different coaches, and they all still use the same exact template that they had when they were learning the game. So it's what they're comfortable with. It's what they use. They tweak it a little bit, but they're all pretty much the same.